I love playing with this team, man. There's so much energy throughout the week during game day, man. It's just so much fun. Look at him. You feel? I mean, if you don't feel that at home, I don't know what's going on. I mean, it's just so much fun out here.
My favorite thing to watch right at the end of the game, your defense holds the Bears without an offensive touchdown, and you celebrated. You erupted off the bench. How about this defensive performance?
It's so much fun seeing them grow throughout, getting kind of a bad rap there in the first half of the year, and then coming together, not letting any of that get in the way of what we got going on in this building, and we just keep getting better every single week.
How much fun are you having?
I'm having a blast. I'm having an absolute blast. Everybody, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays.
All right, that's with Stacey Dales there. The Chiefs get the Chargers at Arrowhead, Week 17. It looks as if KC's going to be the 3 seed or the 4 seed. However, they can sneak up to the 2 and get a bye if they beat the Chargers and the Patriots somehow lose to the Dolphins in Foxborough. Don't think that's going to happen. Not after the way Tom Brady and the Patriots played against a very good Josh Allen-led Bills team on NFL Network in the middle of our 3 games on Saturday. How about this? By the way, what a route by John Brown. Lost Stephon Gilmore, got behind the safety, and got the 53-yard touchdown. Bills lead 17-13, but Rex Burkhead cannot be denied. Bouncing off of linebackers into the end zone, the spike, a Gronk spike, if you will. And the Patriots have won 11 consecutive AFC East titles.
That's the way to compete, fellas. That's the way to compete. It wasn't perfect, but you guys competed your ass off, and that was the difference. All right, so look, this is very simple now, okay? This is a playoff game. Miami's a playoff game. If we beat Miami, then we get a bye. If we don't, then we'll be playing the next week. So it's a playoff game. So we got to be ready to go here. We need our best week. Keep building on what we've been building on here, all right? And keep this thing rolling. Look, we need everybody. We need everybody. All right, so let's enjoy this one. Let's relax a little bit here. Come back ready to go. This is a big week. We're in the playoffs. We are in the playoffs now. AFC East champs. Congratulations.
And they get a hat for it, I believe. They now have 17 hats with Tom Brady as AFC East champions. The one time they didn't was the Brady blow the knee out year. Matt Castle, though, still led that team to 10 wins somehow. Mike Giardi, every time somebody wants to remind Tom Brady he's 42, he does something like this. Now, granted, there have been plenty of times where they haven't answered the bell offensively this year. Saturday was not one of them. They showed up and played their best.
This was the best the offense has looked, in my opinion, since week 1 against the Pittsburgh Steelers, just in terms of the flow and the way they played the game, and certainly Brady's best performance since then. Almost 80% completion percentage in the game against a very good Bills defense. Didn't push the ball down the field, not a single throw over 20 yards, but it was the intermediate stuff, the crossing stuff, to the outside and N'Keal Harry that made their plays. They kept this thing going. 143 yards rushing as well. It just sort of all came together. And dare I say, Andrew, looked a lot like them last year, right about this time, the final 2 weeks of the season, where all of a sudden they became a power running football team. Brady was efficient, and then they won 5 straight and another Super Bowl.
Yeah, here's the other thing, too, Saturday, Mike. A week ago, we sat here, you and I, and we said Julian Edelman just does not look the same. Oh, he looked fine Saturday.
He looked a lot better, certainly, and I think they're doing a very good job here of managing him during the course of the week in practice. And then even in the game, prior to being removed from concussion protocol, he wasn't in on every snap. And you can kind of see he would catch a pass, hit the turf, and it was sort of like a reevaluation. Is everything where it's supposed to be? All right, get up and let's play on to the next play. It was very interesting to talk to him after the game, too, Andrew, because you know, the big story the last few weeks has obviously been just his overall toughness. How is this guy doing it? And he said, can you stop asking my teammates that? They give me a hard time about it. You know, I'm just playing football like everybody else. And now when they go to this Miami game that Belichick says is a playoff game for them, you do wonder, will they manage Edelman again or maybe even force him to sit down? We asked him that after the game, and he said, guys, I get paid to play football, so I expect to see him out there Sunday against the Dolphins.
Yeah, as Brady told Schrager afterwards, Jules toughed it out again. Thank you, Mike Giardi, here as the Patriots once again are looking at the 2 seed. Just beat the Dolphins, you get the 2 seed, you get the bye. They could back into it if the Chiefs lose, but again, beat the Dolphins at home. And once again, Brian Baldinger, nice hat. The Patriots are off on wild card week. No more explosive plays in that offense, it seems, but they're doing enough.
Well, they had a couple. One of them was on their final drive. Well, not their final drive, but the drive that they took the lead in, starting with about 9 minutes to go in the fourth quarter at their own 41-yard line. Here's an explosive play. 2 Jules to Julian Edelman right here off play action, and they really used it. They used it well because Sony Michel had his best game of the season, and he got behind that defense and spun on contact against Jordan Poyer and picked up 30 on that play. Here's what it looked like from the end zone coming right into your living room. The play action right here, put in the belly of Michel. You can see that both Matt Milano and Tremaine Edmonds both stepped up to play the run, open up that window in the back, and there's the spin off the safety Poyer, pick up 30. And then the rest of the way was just 6 straight runs. Here's a power O with, the left guard pulling around right here. And it was just classic Joe Thuney right here behind 2 good tight end blocks of Matt Lacoste and Ben Watson. And you can see that Sony Michel came to play, just carrying defenders. And then on 3rd and 1, the Bills don't play this quarterback sneak. Brady just taps the center right here, and he takes 3 yards and gets it down close to the goal line where Rex Burkhead just finished it off. And this is just a great play by Rex Burkhead. You get a Landon Roberts, the lead back, kicking out on Milano, but he breaks the tackle of both Star Lotulelei along with Lorenzo Alexander for the game-winning touchdown right there. They got the running game cranked up. They had 143 yards rushing, 35 carries. It reminded me of that game-winning drive in the Super Bowl against the Rams, where they really leaned on the run game. It looked really good against the number 2 defense in the NFL on Saturday afternoon.
They did this one, however, without Rob Gronkowski. Much different team, but they do enough to beat the Bills. Huge game there. Thank you, Santa Baldi. The AFC playoff picture now looks like this with 1 week to go. Ravens locked in, not going to move. Patriots lock into the 2 seed with the win. Kansas City sure does look like the 3, although there could be a scenario in which the 3. We'll tell you how they could do it. It's complicated a little bit later on NFL Now on NFL Network. Hope you had a great weekend. All the shopping is done. Happy Hanukkah to you. My name is Andrew Siciliano. We're here in the newsroom in Los Angeles. Highlights and playoffs and all of that coming up in a second. But we have some pretty significant news, which we kind of sort of saw coming a couple of weeks ago. It begins, though, with another running back injury here for the Seahawks. Pete Carroll just said fractured hip for Chris Carson, likely now out the remainder of the season, throwing a broken arm for C.J. Prosise. And what if I told you that Marshawn Lynch is coming back, everybody? Yep, he's coming back. Ian Rappaport's our NFL Network insider. Tom Pelissero with us on this story as well. He's in Minnesota ahead of Monday Night Football. We'll hit that later. Marshawn Lynch, Ian, is on his way back to Seattle, and Pete Carroll said this is going to happen.
This does, in fact, sound like it's going to happen. And this really kind of caught fire a little bit last night when the Seahawks realized the just incredible toll this game took on them. Running back injuries, Chris Carson out for the season, C.J. Prosise out for the season. They need running back help. And, of course, Marshawn Lynch did visit the facility pretty recently just to say hi, just so they could kind of check on him and make sure that if they needed him, he was ready. They do need him. He believes he is ready, and Tom, of course, he has told people close to him that he is ready and wants to play, and it does, in fact, sound like the Seahawks are going to go down that road, assuming that he's in the kind of physical shape that he says. And this is a relationship that could have gone sideways a million times. It has been tense, but the lines of communication have been open. They have maintained a good relationship recently, and that comes in handy on days like today.
Ian, a lot has changed in Seattle since Marshawn Lynch was last a part of that team in 2015. You're talking about major locker room turnover, leadership turnover. Even the running scheme has changed now under their new coordinator, Brian Schottenheimer, and offensive line coach, Mike Solari. The one thing that has not changed is Pete Carroll wants to ride a physical style of running. You lose Chris Carson, you lose C.J. Prosise. They already lost Rashad Penny. Marshawn Lynch may be 33 years old, but we know the mentality and the juice that he can bring to that locker locker room. Not only does it sound as if, barring some kind of a snag, Marshawn Lynch is going to be back with the Seahawks, he could play a pretty pivotal role as they head into a playoff run here.
Yeah, Pete Carroll said he could play this week. Week 17, Sunday Night Football with the NFC West title on the line.